In this gripping tale of murder, mystery, and mayhem, one thing is clear. The clock is ticking, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Our heroic detective must race against time to gather clues, interrogate suspects, and ultimately bring the killer to justice before it's too late. But wait a minute, that sounds like every other detective show in existence. What if I told you that beneath the surface of these thrilling narratives lies a shocking truth about how detectives really work? Buckle up, because we're about to take a deep dive into the nitty-gritty of criminal investigations and expose all the ways your favorite detective shows get it gloriously wrong. Get ready to be surprised, intrigued, and maybe even a little bit disappointed as we peel back the layers of this fascinating profession. From the way evidence is collected to the methods used to interview suspects, we'll be discussing everything that these shows either ignore or get completely wrong. So grab your magnifying glass and prepare to join us on this eye-opening journey that will change the way you watch detective shows forever. Hey there, Speedy. Before we delve into the murky world of criminal investigations, let's tackle the elephant in the room, Speed. Why do these shows make everything happen so fast? In real life, gathering enough evidence to solve a case can take months or even years. But on screen, it's all wrapped up in a neat 45-minute package. The truth is that real detective work is a slow and methodical process that requires patience, attention to detail, and a whole lot of legwork.
Oh.
So while watching these shows may give you the illusion of being on the edge of your seat, knowing what goes into real investigations will help you appreciate just how much time and effort goes into solving crimes in the real world. Let us start by debunking the myth of the lone wolf detective who operates outside the boundaries of the law and established procedure. In reality, detectives don't just follow their gut instincts when collecting evidence or questioning suspects. They must follow a strict chain of custody protocol to ensure that all evidence is admissible in court. Additionally, detectives often collaborate with other agencies, including the FBI, to access additional resources and expertise. This collaborative approach is key to solving complex cases that require specialized skills or resources. Furthermore, detectives rely on advanced technology and digital forensics to uncover critical evidence that would otherwise go unnoticed. For example, they use facial recognition software to identify suspects captured on video surveillance, or analyze cell phone data to track a suspect's whereabouts. Interpersonal skills are also crucial for detectives who must communicate effectively with victims, witnesses, suspects, and other investigators. Detectives need to be able to build rapport with individuals from all walks of life and extract information from them through skillful questioning and active listening. By understanding the importance of teamwork, technology, and communication, you'll gain a deeper appreciation for the complexity and nuance of detective work. But wait, there's more. While watching these shows may give you the impression that detectives work alone, in reality, they are part of a larger team that includes forensic experts, crime scene investigators, and ballistics analysts. Each member of the team brings a unique set of skills and expertise to the table, working together to solve the case. You'll learn how each member of the investigation team contributes to the process and how their expertise is vital in solving complex crimes. As we continue our exploration into the world of detectives, we'll reveal even more surprising truths that will challenge everything you think you know about this thrilling profession. So stay tuned and get ready to be amazed at what goes on behind the scenes of your favorite detective shows. Time to shine the spotlight on a common trope in detective shows, where detectives are often shown jumping to conclusions and making snap judgments based on their intuition. In reality, detectives use a more scientific and systematic approach to problem solving known as deductive reasoning. This involves carefully examining all available evidence, considering all possible explanations, and ruling out potential suspects before making an informed decision. To illustrate this point, consider a fictional character who immediately assumes that a woman's husband is guilty of a murder, despite a lack of concrete evidence. In contrast, a real-life detective would follow a systematic approach to the investigation, gathering evidence and conducting interviews to build a strong case against the perpetrator, regardless of their relationship to the victim. But that's not all. Deductive reasoning also involves considering alternative explanations and not jumping to conclusions. For example, instead of immediately assuming that a murder weapon found at the scene was used in the crime, a detective might also consider the possibility that it was planted there to mislead investigators. By using this approach, detectives can ensure that they have a strong and airtight case before making an arrest or charging a suspect. Now let's talk about the infamous interrogation scene. In detective shows, suspects are often coerced into confessing their guilt through aggressive questioning tactics. However, in reality, detectives are trained to use a variety of methods to elicit information from suspects without resorting to coercion. These methods include building rapport, asking open-ended questions, and using evidence-based arguments. Additionally, detectives must be careful not to violate a suspect's rights during questioning. Overall, the interrogation process in real life is much more nuanced and complex than what is portrayed on television. And speaking of evidence, let's address another common misconception. In detective shows, evidence is often collected quickly and easily, but in reality, gathering evidence can be a lengthy and meticulous process. Detectives must follow strict protocols to ensure the integrity of the evidence, which can involve obtaining search warrants, dusting for fingerprints, and analyzing DNA samples. Moreover, detectives must be able to interpret the evidence objectively, separating facts from assumptions and biases. This requires a keen eye for detail and the ability to think critically. To sum it up, the process of gathering and analyzing evidence in real life is far from the quick and straightforward process depicted on television. But wait, there's more. Let's not forget about the portrayal of profiling in detective shows. In many shows, profiling is used as a quick and easy way to catch criminals. But in reality, it is a complex and data-driven process that relies on extensive experience and knowledge of criminal behavior. Criminal profilers typically have advanced degrees in psychology and spend years working in law enforcement before specializing in profiling. They use their expertise to analyze crime scenes and develop a psychological profile of the most likely perpetrator. This information is then used by investigators to focus their efforts on the most promising leads. It is important to note that criminal profiling is not a form of mind reading or crystal ball gazing. Instead, it is a systematic approach to analyzing evidence and using it to predict the characteristics of a perpetrator. So next time you watch a detective show, keep in mind that the process of criminal profiling is much more complex and nuanced than what is often portrayed on screen. Alright, now let's shift our focus to the often overlooked aspect of detective work, the handling of evidence. In detective shows, evidence is often collected quickly and easily, but in reality, gathering evidence can be a lengthy and meticulous process. Detectives must follow strict protocols to ensure the integrity of the evidence, which can involve obtaining search warrants, dusting for fingerprints, and analyzing DNA samples. But it doesn't end there. Detectives must also carefully document and chain each piece of evidence to ensure its authenticity and reliability. This involves taking detailed notes, photographing and labeling each item, and storing it in a secure location until it is needed in court. Proper handling of evidence is crucial for several reasons. Firstly, it ensures that the evidence is admissible in court. If evidence is mishandled, it could be deemed inadmissible, which could jeopardize the entire case. Secondly, proper handling of evidence helps to ensure the accuracy and reliability of the investigation. If evidence is contaminated or tampered with, it could lead to false conclusions and a misallocation of resources. Lastly, handling evidence properly is essential for maintaining the integrity of the investigation. Mishandling evidence could raise doubts about the reliability of the investigation as a whole, leading to a loss of public trust in law enforcement. Overall, the process of handling evidence in real life is far from the quick and straightforward process depicted on television. In addition to the meticulous attention to detail required for evidence handling, real detective work also involves a significant amount of paperwork. Detectives must fill out numerous forms and reports, not only for their own records, but also to comply with legal requirements and to keep other parties informed. This includes incident reports, evidence logs, search warrants, and more. While some aspects of the job are exciting and dynamic, such as interviewing witnesses or apprehending suspects, a significant portion of a detective's work is spent hunched over a desk reviewing documents, typing up reports, and poring over case files. This may come as a surprise to those who are only familiar with the high-octane action and drama depicted on TV, but it is an essential part of the job. The paperwork involved in detective work serves several important functions. Firstly, it helps to ensure that all details are recorded accurately and completely. This is important not only for the overall investigation, but also for any potential court proceedings. Secondly, the paperwork involved in detective work helps to create a paper trail for legal and auditing purposes. This is important for several reasons, including ensuring accountability, transparency, and compliance with regulations. Finally, the extensive paperwork involved in detective work helps to ensure that no stone is left unturned. By carefully documenting every detail, detectives can ensure that they have considered all possible leads and theories. While the mountains of paperwork involved in detective work may seem tedious and time-consuming, they are an essential part of the job that helps to ensure that every case is thoroughly and accurately investigated. While watching these shows, you might get the impression that the judicial process is quick and efficient. In reality, going to court can be a lengthy and complex process that involves numerous procedures and protocols. For example, in a TV show, a defendant may be found guilty in a matter of minutes after a compelling piece of evidence is presented. However, in real life, the presentation of evidence in court is subject to strict rules of evidence and procedure. Attorneys must ensure that all evidence is properly authenticated and relevant before it can be admitted by the judge. Additionally, there are often lengthy pretrial motions and negotiations that take place before a case goes to trial. Even if a trial does take place, it can still take days, weeks, or even months to reach a verdict. Moreover, the actual trial itself is often very different from what is portrayed on TV. In real life, trials are much more formal and structured, with strict rules of decorum and procedure. There is also much more emphasis on due process and the rights of the accused. Unlike TV shows where dramatic courtroom confrontations are the norm, in reality, lawyers typically avoid making emotional appeals or personal attacks when presenting their case. Instead, they focus on presenting a logical and persuasive argument based on the facts of the case and the relevant laws. Overall, the judicial process in real life is much more complex, time-consuming, and detailed than what is often depicted on television. We hope that after watching this video, you'll have a greater appreciation for the hard work and dedication that goes into every investigation, and you'll be better equipped to spot the inaccuracies and stereotypes perpetuated by detective shows. Remember, while these shows can be entertaining and may provide some insight into the world of criminal investigations, they should not be taken as an accurate representation of real detective work. Thanks for joining us on this eye-opening journey. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all our latest content. We'd also love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. So what are some of the other ways that detective shows get it wrong? Have you ever watched a detective show and thought, that's not how it works? Share your thoughts with us and other viewers. Till next time, stay curious and keep asking questions.